Good evening and welcome back to the show. This is Darkness Radio, your home for the best in paranormal talk radio, 5 nights a week, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. till midnight. We explore the strange and unusual world around us and a focus to the true crime aspect of the world. We do that every Tuesday night here on Darkness Radio. We've got something brewing, Tim, that's going to bring a little bit more Darkness Radio to the world.
Yeah?
In the next couple of months.
Yeah?
And it's pretty bubbling, pretty exciting.
Yep.
Not a whole lot more Darkness Radio, but maybe an extra 2 hours a week.
Just a taste.
Just a little bit of a little ping pow.
Yeah.
So we're working diligently towards that goal, and we can't really give you more information right now, but we are working on it. It is a pretty major opportunity, and we'll be bringing Darkness Radio and our True Crime Tuesday shows to a larger scale audience. So it'll be different than what you hear on our show here, but it is still Darkness Radio under our umbrella. And but we're excited. There's
Absolutely.
some very cool opportunities popping out there, kids. So keep your eyes and ears peeled. We'll let you know as those come down. As a matter of fact, talking about opportunities, I want to keep mentioning this, and I'm getting emails every day about it. I'm going to be going back to England in 2017. We're going to be doing a tour of haunted and paranormal England. We'll be hitting castles. As a matter of fact, one of the places we're trying to acquire is the location that they used for Hogwarts.
Really?
Yes, in the that movie series that was so popular that all the kids liked. What's that? The Hunger Games, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Hunger Games.
Yeah, Hunger Games
sure.
at Hogwarts. But we're working on that. We've also got part of the trip will be embroiled in Dracula mythos. We'll be visiting ghosts and graveyards and so much cool stuff. And there will be investigations of at least 2, but it looks like 3 major hotspots in England. We'll get an opportunity to investigate. If you're interested in being a part of that tour with us in 2017, email me. And as soon as we get all the information and all of the pricing situated, I will make sure that you're all the first to get emailed about this before we open it up to the public. Because this will be limited to about 25 to 30 people. We'll cap it off at that so that we can have a nice intimate affair. If you want to be a part of that, email me now, Dave@darknessradio.com, Dave@darknessradio.com. And as soon as we are ready to announce it and prices, you will be the first to be able to go in and purchase. So go check that out. One other quick little aside. Tim and I are going to be doing our event here in September in the Palmer House Hotel, Sauk Center, Minnesota. It's a weekend of ghost hunting, kind of a 101 on the paranormal. We'll go everything we can on photography, EVP, why we hunt ghosts, what are ghosts. We'll cover all of that over a weekend, and we'll have a great time. 2 nights of investigating. You can do just a one-day event, or you can book it for the entire weekend. And you can choose either Friday, Saturday, or the whole enchilada. And if you want to check out more information on that, go to darknessevents.com. That's in September. And for those of you traveling out to Michigan, I'll see you at the end of the month at the, I think, 7th or 8th annual Michigan Paracon this year.
I think it's 7th.
Yeah, so this is going to be pretty exciting. A lot of great guests on hand. We're going to be out there, and I'll be hanging out, so I'd love for you guys to come on out and visit with me this year and check that out. All right, we're back with the show now. Our guest for the evening is the Reverend Jesus Payan, and he is an actor, he is a boxer, he is a presidential candidate on the independent ticket. And he's talking to us about his experiences and beliefs in the paranormal. I know I want to get into the demonic aspect that you've faced, and again, as a reverend and as a layman investigating the claims of the paranormal, Jesus, but I'd also like to ask you real quickly, if you were able to attain the position of President of the United States, where would your position be on the supernatural and releasing information to the public? If you go in and find out that there really is something dark or malevolent going on and that the government is aware of it, would you still push to let the people know that this is going on, even if you understand that it could cause panic and issues? What do you think is more important, the truth or maintaining the peace?
Well, I think that it is definitely not a either-or situation.
Okay.
Like, for one, national security is national security. And if we're dealing with a situation with, say, the quote-unquote alien, situation, and there is, bad things happening, possible war coming, I wouldn't go out and be like, everybody, it's time to run, we're going to war. It would be, of course, more just an introduction. Yes, this is real. We're looking into it. We will, disseminate as much information to the public as possible as we find out more about what these creatures are, what their intentions are, and how to avoid, dealing, or what you need to do if you have to experience anything with these beings, what you should not do as well. So it would depend, like I said, just depend on which situation we're talking about. We're talking about Bigfoots, we were talking about ghosts, or aliens. Any of those three topics, people are going to get all freaked out one way or another. But I think that America's big enough to accept the reality, because the majority of the stuff that we're talking about is mainstream now, and not so, War of the Worlds era, where everybody's just going to run down the streets panicking. The rest of the world already, all their governments have admitted that UFOs are real, that all that exists, and we're here in America still, with our hands over our ears, going la 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 la,
Right.
So it's I just think,
but it could be,
up, and there's a certain extent to what you do divulge that could possibly cause a lot of panic, or give away too much information.
All right. Let's take a quick break again. We'll dump in, come right back, and we'll talk about your encounters with the dark side of the paranormal when we return to Darkness Radio. We're back. This is Darkness Radio, joined by the Reverend Jesus Payan, and he's also talking to us about his experiences in the paranormal. We'll also dabble throughout the talk this evening about his aspirations to be president. You are on the independent ticket, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
How does that work? I'm just curious. Again, I'm not a big political guy, but how do you run for president and get on an independent ticket? Does it go across the United States, or really are you just showing up in the states out in your area?
Well, I've run every election since 2008. I always ran as Democrat. This year I had started off as Democrat. I didn't want to, but everybody that said they're going to support me said that I needed to pick one or the other, Democrat or Republican, and I went with Democrat and didn't get the support that they thought. And saw where the Democratic Party and the Republican Party was going with, Hillary and Trump in the lead. So I decided, I would rather run independent and not conform to, either side, and be able to do more than that. Yeah, picking one of those allows you, because they want you to stay within the realm of that party.
And once you're on these independent tickets and getting it out there, what do you do to get the name out? I mean, you understand it's a money game. The political parties are going to take from the Democratic or Republican parties, because they're paying their way through this and keeping the names out there. Isn't it frustrating to put yourself in a political situation where it's probably a no-win situation every time?
Oh, most definitely. But the way I look at it is, one, like, okay, I'm already on TV and movies and stuff, and anytime I want to talk about that stuff, the local news stations here in New Mexico were happy to give me interviews and all that stuff. But as soon as we talked about running for president, it's just crickets, cut me out. I made papers, local papers, stuff like that. My issue really is that my rights as a citizen have been stomped on so much, and it's affected my whole life in a major way. Even though I'm blessed in other other realms, such as acting and whatnot, in public I'm just another dude. Unless you know who I am, yeah, I'm not that special. I got tired of it, and I got tired of having to go to court and fight false charges, and that are all stem from racism and a bunch of horrible stuff. I went to get help. I went to my district attorney. I went to all these different things, and when they wouldn't help me and just scoffed at me, I was like, well, I'm not going to put up with this. I see too much of this happening, and then what's going on with the police. I helped teach law enforcement. I'm a former federal detention officer as well, and I was helping teach crisis de-escalation for officers that were getting in situations where they were too violent or shot people. And I dealt with it. I've had guns put to my head for no reason, getting pulled over for no reason. Just really took chunks out of my life and cost me thousands of dollars for absolutely no reason. So I decided that I was going to stand up. I speak in lots of schools and do motivational speaking to the children. And I believe that by me standing up, even though it's a complete I know I'm not going to win. I know nobody's going to give me money to run. I've run my whole campaign on $400 so far. And, Yeah, but, you know, there's going to be a lot of people out there that have given up, that don't even vote, that think that they don't matter because they've been treated like crap and their rights have been stomped on. I want to show them that even though the same things happen to me and it continually happens to me, I'm not going to get violent. I'm not going to go marching in the streets, even though it's not a bad thing, but it's not helping anything. It's just making matters worse and giving cops more reasons to mace us and arrest us and, you know, violence to occur. So I'm fighting back by saying, you know what, I'm willing to stand up and fight for our rights, for our country. And I know what's going on is not right, and I do know how to fix a lot of it and a whole bunch of it, even though it's, you know, not going to happen, sadly. Even though, you know, you said I'm being cut out of the media, I'm still going to go, keep on going until the day that the next president's, you know, inaugurated, and then I'm going to run again. Just to inspire people, if anything, use my platform to spread knowledge, spread positive, you know, words to the people.
Well, that's a great way to use an opportunity for a presidency to spread positive messages, and that's something different. That's something we could all use in the real market. So thank you for what you do. I mean, it's great that even though you understand it's a David versus Goliath in this case, or mega Goliaths, you're actually trying to do something more to inspire people to make changes, and it comes from within. Let's dip back into the paranormal aspect. You are a reverend, and before that, you were a paranormal investigator and researcher. Talk to me about some of the instances where you've come up against what you believe to be true evil, not just a mad ghost, but real dark evil entities.
Okay, this would be right before 9/11 happened, and it was me and my friend Michael Carrillo, and I had just bought a fifth wheel. And this was before I would even consider myself a researcher. I was still at the time just an experiencer. I would always be dealing with these strange things. So I had bought a fifth wheel, and I did tattoos. You know, I do tattoos. So I never had the conventional job. It's been years since I had a conventional job, 9 to 5. So I always had, you know, lots of free time and just living like a hippie. But yeah, we bought this fifth wheel, and his grandfather owned a piece of property in Tularosa, New Mexico, and that's where Apache reservation is, and this is all Apache lands that was, you know, taken from them. So lots of death happened here, and the Spanish, you know, coming down here and causing all kinds of drama. So his grandfather, he owned an old adobe house on the property, and it was, you know, abandoned. There was like windows that had no windows in them, and it was built. The house was built like in 1890 something, you know, out of adobe. So he tells us, you know, that we could put our fifth wheel behind the house, and you know, we're just being, you know, wise guy youngsters, and he tells us, but whatever you do, and at the time he was like 94, little old man, just tiny little thing, you know. When wind was too strong, he would be, you know, flying away. He was a little guy, but he was so frail, and he says, whatever you guys do, don't go in the house on full moons. The screaming lady will get you. And we're like, okay, Grandpa, you know, crazy old guy, the
Sure.
screaming lady, you know. So, you know, full moon comes, a few weeks later, and sure enough, we're sitting in the little fifth wheel, you know, hanging out, and we hear this screaming. It sounds like, you know, a woman screaming bloody murder. And we get out of the trailer, and it's coming from inside that adobe building. And you know, we have flashlights. We're flashing, you know, to the windows, and we can't see nothing, but the screaming is just going on. So we promptly go back into the fifth wheel and turn on the music as loud as possible. And we would go to Ruidoso. It's about maybe 45 minutes from Tularosa. And we would go to furniture stores, and they'd have outdated furniture that they'd give us to haul away. But instead, we would go have furniture yard sales. So one day, we would always make sure that on full moons, we would shut down everything before it got dark, and we'd move all the furniture and carpet we'd sell into that house. You know, the little latch front door, wooden door. And on this three full moons later, and every full moon, the screaming would happen. All crazy. And on this third one, we were selling our furniture, and people just kept on coming and buying furniture and buying carpet, and they wouldn't stop coming, and it's getting later and later. And we're like, oh man, it's getting later. It's going to be sunset soon. Oh boy. But people wouldn't stop coming. Of course, money. We were just like, all right, keep on coming. It's next month. We already made like $700 in that day. And,
wow.
Hey, we weren't stopping. We were like, keep it going. But the sun started setting, and we're starting to get freaked out now because it's full moon. And people keep on coming. And finally, we're just like, all right, we're done. We're closed. We got to put this stuff away. And it was already becoming dusk. And we're shoving everything in the house off, trying to go quick as heck as we can. And when you walk into the front door, to your immediate left is a bedroom with no windows. And there's a hole in the floor. And it's a really deep hole. I don't know if it was used to be a well there or something, but the wood floor was torn open, and there's just a deep hole. You could throw a rock, and you don't hear it hit. So it was really creepy. So, we don't ever go in that room, but there's no door. It's just an open doorway. So we're locking everything up, and my friend, he turns to the doorway to do the latch, and he said it won't let him latch it. He's trying to latch it, and it won't latch, and he's like kind of freaking out. And to my right, inside the house was like a deep dark blue now because it was getting dark. To my right, out of that room, comes this little 4 foot tall, would look like, do you remember the movie Beetlejuice?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, do you remember that weird, big, black-eyed reverend that's trying to marry Beetlejuice?
Okay, sure, yep.
Looked just like that, but all white, not wearing a suit. Same shaped head, everything. And it's just looking at me and tilts its head, and I tell my friend, dude, forget the door. I was like, whatever you do, do not look to the right. Just go to the left, run. And he looks to the right and sees it. He screams, pushes me out of the way, and heads back, to the back of the door. And I follow him right after, and we pass through the living room, and there is a door between the living room and the next room. I slammed the door behind me, and whatever that thing was slammed into the door. Wham, And we run out, and we jump and do a tuck and roll into the grass and run to the trailer, and this little thing floats up to I guess in the old days they had these long, skinny windows at the top of the wall to let in light, but people can't break in, can't sneak in because they're so short or little. But it floated up there because it was, like I said, it was about 4 feet tall, and that veranda, whatever you want to call it, was at least 6.5 feet high on the wall. So either it climbed up a little ghost ladder or it floated up there, but it was looking out at us and started the screaming thing. And, we went in, the fifth wheel closed, locked it up, and we had just, because we had made so much money that day, we bought brand new batteries for the boom boxes and everything. So, we had everything we needed. Didn't need to go outside. But the screaming kept happening, and then it started shaking our little fifth wheel, shaking it and like Freddy Krueger, when he'd walk by and he'd scrape the walls.
Oh, yeah.
It was doing that around our little fifth wheel, scraping the sides and shaking the trailer. And we're freaking out, at this point. And all the power goes out. All the batteries in my boom box, they were brand new 6D batteries. Just went, we had just bought at lunchtime because we had, money. And, everything just went quiet. And I'm gonna be brutally honest with you what happened that night. I'm not worried about, what people are going to think. I'm just telling y'all the truth, what I experienced. So I rap as well, and I started to rap and sing whatever we could remember together, but so we didn't have to hear the screech, 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 shake, shake, the whole trailer. We're doing whatever we could to make noise, so we didn't have to hear it because it was really scary stuff. And we there was a big old bottle of vodka we had in the trailer, and I was like, dude, shoot, I'm taking a shot. It was nuts. I can't deal with this. So we're taking shots of vodka, right? And, we're singing songs. We did 100 bottles of beer in a while, whatever we could think of, roll, roll, roll.
Right, anything to just hide that noise.
Yeah, and it was constant. It would not stop. That's what was so scary. You feel it shaking the damn little fifth wheel. It wasn't windy or nothing. And then the scraping against the metal outside on the fifth wheel, and then the screaming. It's like it was like in 3 places at once doing all this. And we get pretty buzzed. This is, like I said, in 2000. So this is a while ago. And, I'm buzzed now. And I tell my friend, I was like, man, I've seen the TV specials and the movies. Ghosts feed off our fear,
Right.
And he's like, they feed off our fear. I'm like, yeah. I was like, you know what? So we can't act scared of this thing. I got, been drinking courage, liquid courage. So now I'm all brave. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go outside. I got to pee anyway. That's right. I'm going to go outside and pee on the ghost. Just being stupid. We're just being, crazy guys.
Right. You were EVPing. I got you.
And so he's like, yeah, let's go. So we're outside, and we're, using the bathroom, and it's screaming, and I screamed, so I went, oh, ooh, you can scream. That's so amazing. Ooh, just mocking it. It was like the way on Ghost Adventures when he would do it, when he first started doing the show and mock the ghosts to piss him off. So I'm mocking him still, and now over here to our left, where my friend Michael's dad used a backhoe to move stuff out the way to put our fifth wheel. So there's a bunch of tin and just, a bunch of junk, right? Metal junk and stuff. Well, whatever it was it sounded like a sledgehammer hitting it. Wham, 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 all loud. And, I'm still just being, dumb. And I'm like, oh, you can make noises. Ooh, that's so scary. And
were you using that voice?
Yeah, I was doing it just like that. I am not kidding. So my friends to the left of me, we're still, peeing, and all this is happening while we're using the bathroom. And all of a sudden, I hear this like a whoosh, like like a swinging a bat real fast.
Right.
And then I hear whack, and my friend's gone. And I'm like, what the hell? And I look to my left behind me, and he's laying on his back now, grabbing his shins, and said that it hit him. And I run up to him, and he pulls up his pant legs, and it looked like somebody had a knife and went to his shins with a knife, And at that point, reality, really hit me.
Yeah.
and my buzz disappeared.
My bet.
And we jumped in my at the time my Bronco, my 4x4, and drove in circles with the bright lights and four-wheel drive trying to run over a ghost. And eventually we just drove out of the property and we never went back.
Well, we have to take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll continue with our guests. Stay tuned. This is Darkness Radio. We're back here on Darkness Radio. The Reverend Jesus Payan, our guest this evening, as we discuss his experiences and travels into the paranormal, all of the different things that he's experienced. Now, I know you've got a lot of videos, YouTube, your Bigfoot encounters and things like that, UFO videos. Is there a site specifically they can go to see all of this information with you?
My YouTube channel is Jesus Jr. 2012, so it's all one word, JESUSJR2012.
Okay, and I'll try to get a link up to that on our website as well. Let me do that while we're chatting here, so that we've got it, and we'll pump that out one more time for people. And it's Jesus
if they're interested. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. JESUSJR and then number 12. 2012.
2012. Okay.
Special year for us minds.
Excellent. We will get the link up so our site has it, and all of the great evidence and videos and things that you've collected over the years are available on that site. So I'll make sure that they are up. Just go to darknessradio.com and click on the guest tab to find more information. All right.
Yep.
Getting back in, I know you've got a lot of stories to tell, and again, I'm not familiar with which direction you want to necessarily take us. I've kind of hit what I've wanted to push for, but what angles of the paranormal are most impactful to you and have had, do you think, the most, I guess, I don't know what's the word I want to find here, had the most grasp on opening you up to this world around us? Where do you go with that?
Well, I can't really pick one because each different aspect has affected my life so much, But as of late, the most I've been working on is Sasquatch research, working, with doing genome projects with the universities and, all the research that I'm doing right now. And I'm working with Jeff Meldrum, Melba Keachum. I was on the Falcon, like I said, the Falcon crew. That project that fell through. Funding never happened in the end. To me, I'm not upset about it. People made a big deal about it because it didn't work out. But hey, we're trying. We don't have money everywhere to be funded. The Sasquatch thing I find super fascinating because, besides I've seen one now, is that it's right here, right next to us all. I mean, it's in every country on the planet. And, yeah, I just recently found out that, right 5 miles from my house here in town, we have, Sasquatch activity. And these beings have been around for so long, and they're everywhere. People think that it's a rare occurrence, and it's not a rare occurrence. And there's been so much reports since the 1800s of bodies being found. There's bones have been found. People just don't accept it. There's a preponderance of evidence. They just won't accept the evidence. When we provide evidence, they're like, oh, no way.
What do you believe that these creatures are then when you're talking about Bigfoot? Is this something that's physical and has always existed, or is it something more spiritual or alien in nature?
I think they've been physical and have existed as long as we have. Now, for what they're describing as the woo-woo thing and all the weird stuff that happens with Bigfoot, I can't explain that weird stuff that happens with Bigfoot, but it keeps on happening. The way I look at Bigfoot is they're another version of human, a different. They could say they're our cousins. Their mitochondrial DNA is coming up human. In all our research that we're doing. But I think because they are not just an ape, they're actual humans. They have a language. They do have their own ceremonies. They have their own beliefs. I think that just like Native Americans have medicine men, holy men, and certain people in our society, only certain people have certain abilities that we find, ridiculous or paranormal or, why can't they have the same situation? They've had plenty of time to practice. They've gotten to watch man rise and fall over and over from, these forests. And, there might be a reason why they don't want to drive cars and, use iPads. But, yeah, I think they're very physical. There's some things we can't explain, just like, following footprints in the snow, and then they just stop. Did they go into another dimension? Don't know. Did they get picked up by a UFO? I don't know. Possibly. But I don't, I can't discount, just like, people are like, oh, that's just a blob squatch. That's just a fuzzy picture. Well, it's like, well, you know what? I want you to go out and try to take a picture of a Bigfoot, and you'll see how hard it is to do that. Anthropologists and, like Jane Goodall, they know, how hard it is to, unless you, habituate some, or you work with them over and over and build their trust, you won't see these animals just, willy-nilly. You will get little tiny glimpses of them in pictures, and you zoom in, and they're blurry. Same thing with Bigfoot. Unless you're out there looking, you're never going to see it, one. Two, there's a lot of evidence that's coming out that isn't, I guess you could say, official scientific proof, but it is evidence nonetheless that we keep, throwing out the door just because we're like, well, that's possible it could be CGI. Well, it's possible that, President Obama, dressed up as a Bigfoot one day. But, yeah, it's possible. It doesn't mean it's going to happen or that it did happen. It doesn't make it any less real, So, if you discount all of the, the history from Native American cultures and other indigenous cultures around the world about this creature, then, yeah, you can discount it and say it's not real, it's not believable. But for the people that actually see it, a woman had a...
Well, we have to take a break. When we come back, we'll hear some more of the encounters you've collected and had yourself. We'll do that when we return to Darkness Radio. All right, we're back. Darkness Radio's on the air with the Reverend Jesus Payan as our guest this evening and talking with him about his work in the field of the paranormal. Now, let's talk about some of the Bigfoot encounters that you've collected and that you've witnessed firsthand.
Okay, so I'd say the first actual visual that I had of a Sasquatch was in the Caluchicay Mountains in northern New Mexico on the Navajo Reservation. I had blown out my calf. Some tendons got messed up. So I was stuck to the vehicle. We drove out to the mountains with, some researchers, and I had to stay in the truck while they got to walk off. It was I'd say bright enough night to where I could see, I guess it'd be like a purplish, dark blue. I could see trees everywhere, I could see the path in front of me, but it was real dark, of course. And they were the team was coming back from, scouting, because we had smelled horrible smells and heard some weird noises. They went out to investigate it. And all of a sudden I heard, like a big branch breaking, like something being stepped on. And I got to see the silhouette of a Sasquatch running in front of the truck across the trail and going to the forest to the left. And as soon as I saw that, one of the researchers radioed me and asked if I heard the big wood snap, branch snap, whatever. I was like, yeah. I go, there was a Bigfoot just ran across the truck, and they all ran up, and it was gone out of sight before they got back to camp. That was the first time I had any type of visual sighting of it. And then the next time, which was way up close and personal, was in again northern Farmington on the Navajo Res on a private ranch right off of the res, on the San Juan River. So while we're out there, it was me, Crypto Four Corners, J.C. Johnson. We had Jack Carey, George Harvey. He was a local Navajo tracker. We all worked together. We had Christopher Nicholas and a few more individuals. Robert Kreider was there. He brought his toys, night vision, and all that fun stuff. And we were just there that night to submit DNA, some DNA findings that we're going to be submitting to the university for genome studies. We weren't planning on doing any investigating while we were there. It was more of a get-together of all those researchers, and turn in our evidence and, hang out. But I can't sit still if we're somewhere Bigfoot has been reported. I'm like, why aren't we walking around, man? There's freaking Bigfoot here, I'm just like,
right.
I can't sit here. Come on. So me and Robert ended up going out, walking around, and I did call blasting, previous recordings of what we believe were Sasquatch vocalizations. So I put it on the speaker and was playing it real loud to pretty much announce to them, hey, we know you're here. I wasn't trying to fool them into thinking that we're Bigfoots. So they responded, with calls, and they moved in. And so me and Robert going out to look for them, to see if we could, find Bigfoot. So we get to this little offshoot canal, nasty little canal that's right off the river, and there's this rickety bridge over it made out of, like PVC pipes and foil or something. It was pretty rickety. And Robert wants to go into this, it looks like, I guess, a animal trail that leads by the canal. That just goes into this creepy darkness that just did not look inviting to me. And I was like, Robert, you go ahead and do that. I will just make sure no Bigfoots cross this bridge, okay? You just go do what you do. I'll be right here. So it was a full moon. It was about 22 degrees. It was, 1 or 2 in the morning. And I'm just hanging out there on the bridge. And it's, really bright because of the moon, full moon. And right in front of me to the right is this, high bushes right by the canal. And I hear a rustling in the bushes, and I'm like, what's that? I'm like, it could be a bear, it could be a cougar, heck, it could be a chupacabra. I don't know what it is because I can't see it, but I know there's something big moving around in the bushes, and that's, kind of freaking me out. So I'm like, what if it's a Bigfoot, though, right? That'd be so cool, of course. So I'm like, what could I do that a Bigfoot could do, because I know they like to mimic. They have there's lots of reports of them, copying people's voices, with the David Pilates, with, Missing 411, he talks about, women's voices being, calling them little kids, the little kids singing to their mom, and their mom never called them, So I'm like, well, maybe the Bigfoot will, do something that I do. So I pulled out something out of my pocket, and I looked towards the bush, and I went, tap, tap, tap. And I waited. I did it again. Tap, tap, tap. And it tapped back. I don't know what it did with its teeth or got through rocks. I don't know. But it did it back to me. Tap, tap, tap. And I'm like, oh, that's a Bigfoot right there. That's, pretty crazy.
Right, yeah, you're getting immediate response, sure.
Yeah, well, was it going to, was it a raccoon doing it? I don't think so. Bears, they smack their teeth. I'm familiar with the, with the local fauna. My mom works for the forest department, so I know animals and tracks and all that stuff. So I'm like, that's Bigfoot. We heard them make their calls. This place was reported as many sightings. Finding Bigfoot even went there at some point. Didn't find it, but they visited too because it's that area is real hot. So I do it again. Tap tap tap. Because I'm curious and communicating with them. I'm not worrying about shooting them or nothing like that. I want to talk to these dudes. They have a language. I want to learn. See what the heck they're saying. They can tell us what the heck they are. We don't know. We're still trying to figure it out. So, tap, tap, tap's a good start in my book. I'm like, we'll just start right there. Tap,
right, okay.
So, to me, it's a form of communication. I'm showing them intent that I'm not trying to hurt them. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm trying to actually talk to them. So we do this back and forth about, 5 or 6 times. And I'm just like, elated. So I call to Robert. I'm like, Robert, get over here. He's like, dude, come in here. It's real squatchy. Just come this way. I'm like, dude, no,
real
you
squatchy.
Come here.
We have about 2 minutes left, too, Jesus, just so you know. Yep.
Right? So after me having to tell him several times, he finally comes over, and he's all, bro, come on, let's go in there. He's like, I found a good spot. That's where they lay down. I'm like, dude, it's right there. And he looks at me, and he's like, all right, Jesus, come on, let's go in here. Stop being crazy, Jesus. And I'm like, no, really, it's right there. Watch. So I do the tap, tap, tap thing again, right? I go tap, tap, tap. And nothing happens. I do it again. Tap, tap, tap. And nothing happens. I'm like, oh, hell no, not now. Come on. And Robert's just looking at me like I'm just, making this stuff up. So I do it one more time really loud at the bush. Tap, tap, tap. And it does it back. But just one loud tap. Tap. And Robert's eyes just open. I'm like, yeah, it's right there.
Now, were you smelling anything? Was there any other senses that were being triggered?
No, not at all. There was no, the smell that people smell I wasn't getting no feeling of it wanting to hurt me. Nothing like that. I was just excited. Just like, so cool. There's a Bigfoot right there, And so Robert, being the wacky guy he is, he just leaps off the bridge into the bush and goes after it, which I couldn't believe.
Right.
And
we've only got about 30 seconds left in this segment, just so you're aware.
All right. So Bigfoot gets up and takes off, and he goes after it. I go around the corner and say, I'll head him off at the pass. And we go down, we follow the noise, and the Bigfoot eventually stops, and there's 2 more Bigfoots in there. And he goes around Robert goes around the corner, and one comes out at me while I'm stepping left and right, and I see a Bigfoot 10 feet in front of me. It's about 7'4".
Yikes. So you're up. Okay, we'll leave it at that. We'll come back and find out what happens when you chase down a Bigfoot only to find that it's got friends and they're there. We'll talk with our guest, Reverend Jesus Payan. When we return, you're listening to the best in paranormal talk radio. This is Darkness Radio.